Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jack's Donuts Grand Prix of Indianapolis. We're here at the famous Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I'm Nick Masse, joined in the booth by fellow co-announcer here, popular guy Chris Wright. Chris, how are we doing tonight?
Oh, we're doing pretty good, man. I don't know how popular I am right now, but it should be a fun night. They're going down here. They're going to be going and making a right turn here on the other end of this front straightaway tonight as we get ready. I believe this is the last event before we get ready to start doing that oval racing and that Indy 500 coming up here in just a few short weeks. So it should be fun. A lot of these guys, maybe are overlooking this, looking towards the oval. We'll see what happens tonight. Road courses are always exciting. And this is a very narrow one. You look here on the front stretch, walls on either side. Lots of places where you can get off and get in trouble and not get away with it. So maybe a few cautions tonight as well. We'll see.
Yeah, we're in for 85 laps here tonight in the Warriors for Peace Indycar Series here at the famous Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You see cars are starting to roll off the grid here. We got Adriano Pinero on the pole, last race's winner at the Long Beach circuit here. Ryan Schultz second. Ethan Stanley looking for redemption. We saw him lead a lot of that race at Long Beach a couple weeks ago. An unfortunate incident with a lap car there took him out of contention. Eric Troiano in fourth. Tyler Fode fifth. Butch Davis in the 43 car starting sixth. Hunter Smith seventh. Nicholas Dudick in eighth. Chad Frankenfield ninth. Greg Forsyth rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, and right there in 11th, we got Seb Alexander, Chad Simpson 12th, Jason Brophy back in, the back half of the field here. He's been the dominant guy all year long. We'll see if he can claw his way forward here tonight. Kevin Hayes right there in 14th. Jesse Vaughn rounds out the top 15. And rounding out the field, we got Mark Murphy, Alan Stover, Victor Del Porto, Corey Johnson, and Eric McAdoo. I believe that's how you say that. I'm not sure. But that rounds out our 20-car field tonight. Should be exciting. I think this is, two-stop race? Three-stop race? You have any idea there, Nick?
I'm not sure, Chris. Have you talked to any of the drivers down there on the grid, get an idea of what they're expecting for tonight?
I talked to a few, and they weren't expecting very good things. It did not come up about the pit cycle and whatnot. They didn't want to give out any information as I believe they were streaming live as well, so they didn't want anybody knowing their tricks or what they thought they could do with fuel here.
Interesting to see how this plays out. Got a lot of cars up there. As we wind down the season here, we only got a handful of races left. We got Indianapolis, the Indy 500, 12th running of that coming up May 9th here on the Elite Racing Network. So that's coming up quick. A lot of stuff going on in May. Got practice this Sunday for Indy 500. Qualifying next week on Thursday. So a lot of business going to pick up here in the IndyCar series here on the Elite Racing Network.
And one quick thing I want to bring up here before we go green, there are two tire compounds out here tonight. And there are a few cars. I'm going to name the cars on the red tire. That should be the faster tire that gives up the most. Ryan Schold, Chad Frankenfield, Corey Johnson, Jesse Vaughn, Butch Davis and Alan Stover are all starting on the red wall tires here tonight.
Got pace car off here. Arrow's gonna bring him down out of the last corner down the long straightaway here. We are green. The Jack's Donuts Grand Prix of Indianapolis. And this turn one down here, I think you might see some action down here, Chris. This turn one's one of the hardest ones on the circuit. Right-hander. He's got to make
here
it
they
through
come.
clean. They do. Everybody kind of minding their P's and Q's, taking it easy.
Oh, we
here
got
to start.
contact midfield. Somebody lost a wing. Not sure who it was, but somebody's wing flew off of their race car back there in that 1, 2, 3 section. Let me see if I can back that up
it may
for
be
you.
the 43 of Butch Davis there, missing the left front of that front wing. See if we can rewind here and see what happened.
Oh, it's going to be Nicholas Sudak? No, right behind Nicholas Sudak. Who is that? Seb Alexander gets together
We got
with...
another one. Looks like Hunter Smith might have had an incident or something there. He kind of disappeared off the corner. I don't even see him on track.
Yeah, he might be having connection issues.
Butch Davis brings down pit road. Get the
Oh, we're wrecking. Right? Aren't we wrecking?
I believe that is Alan Stover here. See if we can take a look back at what happened to him. He had a hard hit coming out of that last corner.
Yeah.
Go a little bit farther back than that. Like all by himself here, Chris.
Yeah, he just gets loose, and by the time I can figure out who it was to make sure we needed a caution, you see how quick it's back straight, you know? So, and Hunter Smith has dropped out of this race. Connection issues there for Hunter Smith.
A little bit of action there on the opening lap.
Yeah, only one car spun though, and he spun in a terrible spot, and like I said, he just goes immediately back straight. So out front, you see Ethan Stanley out there behind Adriano. Fody up to third after starting fifth. Ryan Schold, not a great start for him. He's backing up. So.
And are any of these guys on the all these top 5 on the same compound, Chris? I can't tell.
Well, we got Panero, Stanley, and Fody, I believe, are all on the black tires. But I know for a fact Schold is on the red sidewall. So it's kind of surprising that he's the one backing up, considering he's the one who you would think be moving forward on a short run.
Great if you look at the battle for third here between Tyler Fody and Ryan Schold.
He's going to try to set him up down the front stretch, get a big toe, maybe go on the button there to push to pass. Maybe Fody goes on the push to pass to defend as well. We'll see. Big run for Schold. Fody's going to give it up. Fody's not even going to fight right here at this point in the race.
I think at this point too, I mean, Fody probably knows he's on the red compound tire there. Kind of decides, you can go ahead. I'll get you back later.
Yeah, and Fody's one of those guys who I feel like everybody expects to win, right?
Yeah, he's one of those guys that we see in the other series consistently run up front, have chances at wins, and I'm not sure if we definitely don't see that as much on the Indycar side because you kind of got a couple ringers over here, this side. but usually always in contention. Tail end of the top 5 right now with Chad. So Cody definitely no slouch. Back at this battle right here, we got Craig Forsyth, Seb Alexander, and Jason Brophy here. Battle for 7. Guys getting spread out really quickly here.
We did just have to give out a tally right there. 54 got a tally for the first lap incident for causing Butch to lose his front wing, but then the 54 lagged out, so.
Harm no foul there as we see Chad Frankenfield going by Tyler Fody. Fody giving up another spot on the front stretch here. Chad again, another one of those drivers on that red tire.
Yeah, and we're seeing that red tire really move forward right now. We'll have to see how long these reds last and if they fall off enough to, for these guys to make it back up. Now, everybody has to use both tire compounds. There's 2 tire compounds, probably 2 stops, so my guess would be if the reds don't give up too much, you might go red, black, red. These guys on the blacks might go black and then double down on the reds. It'll be very interesting to see what it does over the course of a run and what the tire wear and tire fall off looks like. We'll learn a lot more over the course of the next 15 or 20 laps with how much these guys give up, if they give up anything.
Yeah, and I think you would agree, Chris, but as a fellow competitor, I think the one thing you don't want to see is Chad on a softer compound than you, because Chad goes hard as it is, and when you give him a better tire, softer tire, where he can really push it, Chad's not going to cut you any slack and get all he can while he's got the goodies on his tires.
And one thing about Chad this year, I haven't done too many of the broadcasts, maybe one other broadcast I've done all season, but I've had the opportunity to be off track for all these IndyCar races this year, and I'll be back next year doing the same. One thing that's been very clear is Chad has been super fast week in, week out. Chad could be right there in this title fight, but he has had so many issues, whether it was a mistake he made or something out of his control, where he's been running in the top 3 or 4 and has wrecked out or got caught up in something. Chad has been the poster child for, man, if the race was 50 laps shorter, I might have won the thing.
Yeah, he's put some really solid runs together. You see our leader, Pinero, already working his way through lap traffic. And that allowed Ethan Stanley to get right back to him. Now close the gap to 3/10. See if he's got enough of a run here down the front stretch, so maybe make a move.
Yeah, Victor Telporto is really off the pace right now. I mean, he just got past. They're running.
There's Stanley looking on the inside for the lead here. Pinero just kind of speeds up position here, content to run second for now. That lap traffic kind of playing a little bit of a factor there, Chris, letting Stanley have an opportunity to lead this race. See if he's able to do anything with it. We saw him have a lot of speed a couple weeks ago, as mentioned, at Long Beach there, kind of
Well, is he going to come right back at him right here? Nope, not quite. I thought he might try to take a little dive there. But yeah, Victor's running he's running over 3 seconds off the pace of these guys right now. So they are catching him really fast, and they have to make a decision on what they're going to do pretty quick when you're catching a guy that's that far off pace for whatever reason. And there's a lot of traffic coming up behind him going into a section where they might be stuck behind him. And you're seeing it. Ryan Schold, he's going to pull over and just give it to Schold. Now, Nick, you're a driver. How do you feel when somebody just does that out of the blue in front of you?
What about kicks the tires out on the coming off the corner?
He just pulled over and stopped right there, like 2 car lengths in front of you. I think if you don't know that's coming, you could run into the back of the guy.
It's definitely appreciated, but yeah, I agree. Like if you don't, it could catch you off guard, and you could pick the wrong line and run right in the back of him. He doesn't let you know what he's doing. But yeah, I think it's tough, especially when you don't race around guys all the time. You can't really anticipate what they're gonna do, where they're gonna give it up for you. Like you race with guys long enough, you kind of know what they're gonna do, where they're gonna let you have that spot, or give up the lap or whatever it may be. But when you get kind of new guys in the league, the series you're not familiar with, it can kind of lead to some trouble sometimes.
Yeah, now right now, if I had a driver out here and I was watching or spotting for a guy or whatever, I'd be telling him, look, this 19, this Victor Teleporter machine, has stopped in the same corner twice to let people go. So I'd be telling him, if you're coming up on him in that section, be ready for him to pull to the left and give it up. We saw him do it twice. We saw him do it for the leaders, and then we seen him do it again for third in the same spot on the racetrack. You can never give a driver too much information if you're spotting or watching for him. There's always something you can be telling him about what somebody else is doing, what the tendencies are, what the cars around him, what kind of, you know what I mean? There's never, and you see Victor give it up right here to a couple guys right here.
Tyler Fody go by, Eric Troiano right here in the gold 14 car going by. Yeah, I agree with that, Chris, especially these Indy cars where you're constantly worried about the weight jacker, the push to pass. There's a lot more things you got to worry about, I think, in an Indy car, especially because the car is always on edge, it seems, compared to the stock car side. A lot more elements you kind of got to pay attention to, and to get all that information, somebody watching you, spotter, certainly helps.
Yeah, and like you said, there's a lot more to, like, you can make your car a little tighter, a little looser here without ever coming down pit road. We don't have that luxury in the stock cars that we are accustomed to running. We've got what we got. It's all about making sure we don't abuse a certain area of the race car, whether it's the right front or the right rear. We've got to manage that just, with what we're doing with our feet. We can't flip a weight jacker or anything like that. And you're going to hear all about that next week, too. When Indy 500 qualifying, I'm not sure. Are we broadcasting any Indy 500 qualifying here on Elite Racing Network?
I believe we are. I got to look at the schedule here. Let me pull up the schedule here.
Because I know that if we get a chance, or if you guys get a chance to talk to these guys, they're going to tell you, hey, we're hitting that weight jacker every time we come down the straightaway on either end, because 1 and 3 is a little bit different. And some guys are even going to be messing with their weight jacker and different, their tools in the short shoots. It's very, very crazy how much these guys are going to mess with their tools during their 4-lap run.
Yeah, we got practice this Sunday at noon. IndyCar qualifying next Thursday. So, and I believe, as we mentioned, the points kind of winding down. I believe the final points standings after tonight kind of determines where you're going to go out for qualifying next year. Talking to Chad about it. So, this is an important race to get all the positions you can, because your qualifying spot to make the race next week could depend on where you finish tonight in the standings. Like catch a cloud at the right time or anything like that could be your make or break moment to make the Indianapolis 500.
Yeah, but one thing I will say is it's nice for the bulk of the session to go out early. You want to go out early when before the heat of the day gets going on. But that last hour, you want to be able to run again. I think the fast guys are going to probably run again in that last half hour, 40 minutes. Because the track starts really cooling down and it's rubbered in, and it takes, The 1 year I did this, and every other year that I've been a part of, whether it's the broadcast side of it or anything like that, when that track cools down again at the end of the day, it always seems to run faster than it did at the start of the day. So, yeah, you're going to want that lap, and you could probably get into. I'm not sure if Chad has a fast 6 or a fast 9 set up, or what that deal might look like next week, but if you can get into that fast 6 or fast 9, you could probably do that in the morning if you run a really good run. You go out there and you can hold on to a top 6 or 9. But I think if you're going to be in the middle of the qualifying session, you're just going to go out and make a run, and then you're going to be sitting there in the session waiting for that last half hour, 40 minutes, and you're going to do it again when the track's cooled down again, and give yourself a shot at that fast 6.
Watch the battle for 13th there. Eric Macedo, Jesse Vaughn. Vaughn trying to get enough of a slipstream here to make the pass going into 1, but I don't think he's got enough. Maybe. Oh, he's going to try it. Kevin Hayes here caught these guys as they battle. Making a 3-car battle here for the 13th spot.
And there he goes with the big dive.
Kevin Hayes by, so put him up with 14th. Eric Macedo plus 5 to where he started, but lost 2 spots back to 5th.
Yeah, we got Ethan Stanley still out front, just by about a second over Adriano. We got Schultz still 3rd, Chad Frankenfield, Fody. Chad's, of course, the big mover, started in 9th. He's up to 4th. Troiano 6th, Nicholas Sudak there in 7th. And then Seb Alexander started 11th up to 8th. Craig Forsythe running inside the top 10. Chad Simpson running up there. Of course, the big drop is Hunter Smith, who qualified 7th, and he lagged out of the session. We saw what happened to Alan Stover early in the race. Victor Del Porto, he's struggling with his pace tonight. And then, of course, Butch Davis had to make that pit stop on the first lap. Lost his wing down there in the little traffic jam that we had on the opening lap in the opening corner of the race.
The Troiano putting a little heat on the 40 car, Tyler Fody there. Sharp left-hander down the backstretch. Chad passed Fody, but Chad really hasn't pulled away that much. Fody kind of keeping with him here, about 0.8 back, and then Troiano's run up on both these guys.
Well, we've talked a lot about Chad, and I guess we can talk about him some more. What is Chad notorious for there, Nick? You and I both know what it is.
I believe when he's got the goodies on his tires, he's really fast, but as they start to fade, he kind of drops anchor a little bit.
Exactly. Even though he's on a better compound, he has probably cooked them. There's probably not much rubber left on those tires. Probably halfway through a fuel run, if I had to guess, right in that neighborhood. And so he might have burned his tires up here, and we might see the reds start to give up and Fody come through on the blacks, along with Eric.
You're right. So mark it about, I think these drivers are going to take a note for later here. About 15 laps is when that switch might start to get flipped there and kind of might swing the other way in favor of these guys with the harder compound.
And Schold is also on that red sidewall as well. And Schold gave up about half a second that lap, as did Chad. So I think we're getting ready to see the pressure get. Oh, we got Jesse Vaughn running through the grass over here. I don't think he spun, but Jesse Vaughn just did some landscape work there for old Roger Penske. Somebody's doing landscape work in the back of the picture there.
That looks like Corey Johnson. Oh, hang on to it.
Luckily, nobody was coming right behind you when he did that.
Butch Davis goes by there for the spot for 16th.
Butch trying to claw out of a hole here too. He's probably wanting to see a caution. He wants to see something happen.
Yeah, you know, one thing I noticed right there, Chris, is Jesse Vaughn and Corey Johnson. They both have that softer compound, so you might be right. You know that those tires might be starting to slip and slide a little bit, get a little difficult to handle as you see both of them go off track, kind of the same part of the track.
Yeah, and you know as well as I do what it's like to struggle out here on a road course. You know, it's very hard if this isn't something you excel at or something that you look forward to. As running Road America last night, you know, it just, the longer it goes, the more mistakes you make, and I had a couple spins and a couple offs last night, and it just got worse as we went, so it's very difficult for guys who do not excel at this kind of thing. And if you're going to sit around and wait on Ethan Stanley or Adriano to make a mistake, you might be waiting a while here on a road course.
And one thing I've always kind of found odd, Chris, is that, you know, we run some of the IMSA stuff. You know, we had the Elite IMSA series last season. You know, I enjoy running the GTP cars on these road courses, and I feel like I'm pretty decent at them. But for some reason, sometimes it just doesn't transfer over to the stock car side. And, you know, I'm not sure why, if maybe style or, you know, but sometimes, you know, these guys like Ethan Stanley, they're good on everything at a road. Sometimes you see guys good in one car at a road course. Other ones, they struggle.
Yeah, I think that just comes down to, we have, you know, you and I have ran a lot of these road races together, and like you said, you know, some of those road race design cars, some of those GTs, and some of those prototypes and whatnot. And we've gotten pretty comfortable with that car. We know the ins and outs of that car. I don't know if I could do it, but I firmly believe if you sat down and you wanted to run an IndyCar and you spent a lot of time in an IndyCar, you'd figure it out. You would figure out how to make speed in an IndyCar, and, you know, it's just something that takes time. It takes a lot of effort to figure out a car that you're not used to. And Ethan Stanley, you know, kudos to him across all of Elite series. He is one of the top guys in every car. It doesn't matter. Open wheel, stock car, like, it doesn't matter what it is. Ethan Stanley can make it go fast. Now, sometimes he struggles keeping the tires on the car, but he can make it go really fast.
Yeah, agreed. I think, you know, I believe he just won last night at Road America. Wrong. Maybe wrong.
I believe he won. Yeah, he won the thing last night. First round of the playoffs, he got the W out there, and great round for him start to finish. I tell you what, Ryan Schold is really backing up. Chad's backing up. Fode's under a lot of pressure here from Troiano. They're getting kind of jammed up here behind Chad Frankenfield.
Prix getting real close together, and it's kind of funny. They all rubber banded out to start the race, and now they're kind of slowly coming back together here.
Yeah, and I feel like if I'm Fode or Troiano, I'm trying to make this happen, because now Seb Alexander's closing the gap. You know, and that's going to, you know, that 3-car race is going to become a 4-car race. Chad's just good enough leaving onto these long straightaway, and here comes Chad down pit road. So chalk it up lap 19 here. Chad Frankenfield heading to pit road.
So come back to him in a little bit, see what tires he comes out with here.
I gotta think it's gonna be blacks. He's gonna have to run a full fuel run right here, I believe, to make it on one more stop.
Now you see Troiano making the pass on Fode for 4th, so Troiano back to where he started, P4, Fode back to where he started, P5, and Seb Alexander coming quickly behind him here. 6th spot, started 11th, so he's making some hay.
Chad gets to his pit box. And I believe it is Chad did opt to switch to the blacks right there. So Chad's notorious for doing that. He's notorious for wearing out his tires and being one of the first guys in the pit cycle to get in and get some new rubber, and that's what he's done. He's gotten in here, gotten some new rubber, stayed on the lead lap, road course, and the track's big enough that he did not lose a lap.
Your teammate Ryan Schild coming down a lap later. Both of them kind of on the same strategy here.
I gotta think he's going to switch to the blacks as well. But now that gap, Ethan Stanley's got about a second over Adriano. And then it's 10 seconds to Troiano and Fody. I believe Corey Johnson is going to be pitting from right in front of the leader here. As long as everything goes off without a hitch, it should be okay. So we're seeing all the guys on reds that are still in the race opting to pit here at the front side of this window. Deb Alexander closing in on the back of Fody. Fody looks like maybe Fody's worn his tires out just a little bit as well. Maybe
Great.
Trying to...
Greg Forsyth, a pass for 6 there on 22 of Udick.
I almost wonder if Fody didn't burn his stuff up trying to get to Chad. And now he's paying a little bit of the price here. Because Tyler Fody looks like he's really struggling. You know who's not struggling is Ethan Stanley. He's out here on a Sunday drive.
That lead's kind of... Panero's keeping him honest. That lead's stayed about a second for a long time now. So Panero definitely not let him get away.
And I believe our points leader, or I believe he's still our points leader, Jason Brophy, has his pit crew at the ready, and they are waiting for him to come down. He started on the blacks.
Pull up the points here, actually.
And here he comes.
Jason Brophy, points leader, like you mentioned. Panero, 28 points back.
Yeah, Adriano's trying to close that gap, and Brophy's cracked the door for him tonight. He could do something tonight. Brophy is just running at the back half of that top 10. It looks like he's struggling, already pitting on the blacks.
And you see Ryan Schild having a great night, and he's, back there in 17th in points. So a good night for him could be a huge jump. Same thing with Chad as well, sitting 10th. Those guys finished top 5 where they were running 4 pit stops here. I mean, that could be a big jump for those guys in points.
And a lot of cars are on pit road right now. It wasn't just him. I think we had a lot of guys come down right there. Here comes Tyler Fody. I think we had Troiano, Seb Alexander, Craig Forsyth. All those guys come down. Fody's on pit road. Here comes Chad Simpson. Stanley and Panero still out there, and the gap is greatly closed.
Yeah, those guys, even on new tires, like with Ryan Schild and Chad Frankenfield, they're only running about a 10th or 2 faster than our leaders, Ethan Stanley and Panero right now. So it shows you how much speed that 91 and 56 car have.
Oh, and here comes Stanley, and Panero going to follow. Going to try to make ground up here. They're going to have a really, big lock up there as they got to the cone. Both guys look like they made the speed, did not get caught speeding.
And Panero closed the gap a lot right there. He's right on the back wing of Ethan Stanley.
Yeah, very aggressive. This is going to be the race right now. It looks like he's still closing up on him.
Well, watch them through their stops here. See if Panero jumps him, has a little bit better pit stop.
Man, it looks almost slow motion. Tell you what, Panero is right on the line. I was wondering if they were going to jack that car up.
Yeah, I thought he wasn't going to be in the box.
Oh, and Panero is going to win this battle off of pit road. I think.
Oh, they're going to race. Nah, Stanley's going to fall in line. Yeah, so Panero able to jump him right there, have a little bit better pit stop, a little bit better drive off pit road.
Absolutely incredible stuff there. That was the greatest battle all night, and it happened at 40 miles an hour all the way down the front stretch. Oh, Stanley! Stanley with a big wiggle.
Well, to hang on to it, though. It looks like they crashed Corey Johnson, I believe. That happened. Like, last corner here, pit road entry. We saw a wreck here earlier coming back on the front stretch.
Yeah, and that car, he's trying to drive it back around. We're going to have to watch that.
Like the same thing.
Oh, that's a hard hit.
Like same thing we saw earlier.
It's not where you want to make a mistake, but so far it's all been single car.
Back to the battle for the lead. Looks like Ethan Stanley was able to pass him back. We kind of missed that looking at the replay, but
Yeah, Ethan had that big wiggle.
Yeah, we'll see what happened here. Looks, cause he made up a lot of ground. Like,
yeah, you see how far he is behind right here.
Oh yeah, look, Panero almost lost it out of the last corner.
Oh wow, what a save!
Take a look at that. On board here, base cam with Panero, big. I don't know how he hung on to that thing.
Just as he left the curve there.
Yeah, about did the same thing as Corey Johnson just did as we were looking at the replay. Yeah.
So Stanley messed up one of the first corners out of the pits, and he was probably kicking himself. And then they come down here towards the front stretch, and Adriano makes a big mistake.
Yeah, you know, it's got to be one of those cold tire things. You're trying to push harder than that guy you're racing against, especially for the lead, and those little slips on those cold tires can cost you. And both of them are able to hang on to it though and keep these cars running.
Yeah, and after the pit stop, Schold is still in third. Troiano has jumped Chad Frankenfield. Seb is up to sixth. Fode's back to seventh. We just have 3 cars on the red tire right now. Corey Johnson, Butch Davis. Actually, just 2 cars. Really 1, because Corey Johnson might be done for the night as well with all the damage that he just picked up. So Butch Davis on the red. That tells me, I think, that next pit stop, we're going to see a lot of guys on the red wall tires. Okay, that battle at 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. Those guys are all running right there together. One mistake and they're gonna be all over each other.
Yeah, our 2 leaders are kind of, you know, within a second of each other. And we got a 7-second gap back to third, Brian Schultz. So those top 2 are kind of in a zip code of their own. And then, as you mentioned, you kind of got third through about 8th or 9th here. Kind of not too far apart.
Yeah, and they are catching him. That Schold is getting caught just a little bit. They're not to him yet, but Troiano, Frankenfield, Alexander, Fody, Forsythe, and Sudik. All right there. Jason Brophy just holding on to the top 10 right now. Right in front of Chad Simpson. You got Mark Murphy back there in 12th, running right with Kevin Haynes. Jesse Vaughn trying to hold off Butch Davis. I think we're going to have a position change there.
43 will make that pass.
So I'm still not sure how far they can go on fuel. If they've got a little bit more in the tank that they can push for, I think they can make it on one more stop. But if they all just ran as far as they could, which is 20 to 25 laps, we're looking at 2 more stops to get to the end of this thing. Because as you and I both know, in the stock car world, if we had more fuel to push, somebody would be out here trying to catch a caution, trying to hope, something happens that gives them a shot to make up some track position. But over here on the open wheel side, it's all about track position, and so as soon as that window opens, a lot of times you'll see these guys pit. This run will tell the tale. If they can get up towards 60 laps, or get up towards lap 60, I feel pretty good about them making it to the end. And if they can't get to lap 55, I don't think that there's any shot they'll get to the end. As right now we're about where we were with the race lead for Stanley and Panero from before the pit stops. And you still got Scholl quite a ways back in 3rd. Chad is giving up that spot to Troiano, and that's our top 5. Now this track will start changing as these cars, lay rubber, as the track gets rubbered up. The track will change a little bit. It looks like, looking here at the weather as well, it is going to start cooling off here shortly, which will bring the track temp down.
Any rain in the forecast, Chris?
No, not that I'm seeing.
No. Nice and clear skies in Indianapolis.
It looks that way. It does not look like it's very cloudy out here at all. But I'm excited for that. I can't wait till we get some of these races in the rain. Chad mixes it up. I don't think this car has the rain tire just yet. I know the stock car doesn't, but I'm still all for putting a little bit of rain out there and seeing what happens even on the slicks.
I'm not even sure that can slow down Ethan Stanley at this point. Panero.
Yeah, those two are going. Ryan Scholl's kind of holding steady right now. He hasn't lost too much time the last couple laps.
Whoa! Craig Forsythe. Wow.
Is he over there signing autographs right now?
That car is still undamaged. I don't know how. Even rewind that real quick. Trying to make a move on Fody, and he just missed the braking point or something. He went flying in there. Barely touched the wall, looks like. Take a look. Face cam here.
So it looks like here. Man, I'm not sure if Fody braked way early or if Craig just missed that point completely. Either way, there was a big discrepancy in that brake zone.
See if we can go on board with Fody here. Maybe a little bit of contact on that rear wing with the wall, but definitely a lot better. It could have been a lot worse. for Forsythe there.
Well, thankfully that wall starts bending back away from the racetrack right there. If that wall was straight all the way through there, it might have been a little bit worse.
Yeah, Odie, I'm sure, very thankful Craig decided to hang a left there.
Yeah. Could have been really bad and would have been our first yellow of the night. Had he not. And Forsythe's still running along there in ninth. He lost a lot of time, but not too much track position wise. Just gave up the one spot. One position, but about 10 seconds, that's all.
Yeah, fortunately they had a pretty big gap back there, back to Jason Brophy.
Our race leader is about to come up here on Butch Davis, who is on the red walls. And he is running about a half a second off the pace that Ethan Stanley's running.
Yeah, honestly, all these guys in the top 6 are running really similar lap time. At least last time they ran really similar lap times, all on the 113 brackets. Battle's starting to get a little tighter. Battle for fourth. We got Troiano falling back a little bit. Chad Frankenfield running him down. Behind Chad Frankenfield, Seb Alexander, who's running both of them down.
Butch trying to hold on to that top spot there, or that lead lap spot, excuse me. How hard do you think Butch is racing right now? Being that last guy on the lead lap, I would imagine Butch is pushing really hard, but there's not much he can do. But if he does choose to do so, he could sit here in front of Ethan Stanley and make life really difficult on Stanley.
Yeah, and we saw it earlier. That's how Stanley originally got the lead in the first place, is a lap car slowed down Panero. I'm sorry, other way around. Lap car slowed down Stanley, I believe. Panero was able to take the lead. I believe that similar happens here. And, you know, Butch Davis he's sitting 6th in the standings. You know, he's having a solid season, solid run of it. Keeping the cars, you know, running at the end of these races. Super important.
Yeah, and you got to think, he's got good speed tonight, too. If he doesn't get wrecked in that first lap, you know, it could be a totally different story. He could be sitting in probably that battle there with Chad and Seb, as it looks like he's going to give it up. He lets Stanley go around him there. And now we'll see what happens between Adriano and Butch. This is where you find out what people think about you. When you're a lead lap car lapping somebody, you think about how you've raced that guy, and you think about, you know, a lot of things. Is this guy going to hold me up? I mean, you want him to give it to you. He gave it to Stanley. Oh, Butch, big wiggle. He's still pedaling that thing right now. Adriano's taking a look like he wants to dive there, which doesn't give it to him just yet.
Yeah, I think he'll probably do the same thing down that front stretch. They did the Stanley kind of pull over and let him go to the left. I we're gonna guess.
I will say this, he's already, I think, hurt Adriano's time more than Stanley's. And there he goes, he gives it up.
Little slipstream down the front and then pulled out of the way.
Yeah, he says you had to follow me through that section. Follow me down this straightaway, and then 3/4 of the way down, I'll give it to you. As that Chad Frankenfield group, they are about to get into some traffic that could help decide their battle right now as well.
Yeah. We see 22 of Derik going past Tyler Fody there, so Fody dropping some spots here, back to 8.
Not just Fody's lost a lot of time too. You know, he was right there with Chad and Troiano, and now he's 7 seconds behind. Wonder if the fuel is really close and he's trying to make the fuel there to make it on one less stop. Jesse Vaughn goes off right here in front of these guys.
Going. The battle for 12th right here. Mark Murphy in front of Kevin Hayes on the 00 machine.
Yeah, Mark not having a run that I think he's going to be too happy with, but I know Mark is already looking ahead to the Indy 500 and trying to find a way to win that race next week, or in a few weeks' time, excuse me. It is not next week. And this is as far back as we've seen Adriano as well this race. He's right at about 2 seconds behind Ethan Stanley. Schold has found his pace here and making great lap time in the 3rd spot.
Kevin Hayes making the move. Mark Murphy down here going in turn 1. Past 12.
And we're going to have a couple more lap cars just out in front of the leader. It's that Mark Murphy-Kevin Hayes battle that you've been talking about. They are just off the front of the leader here. And Ethan Stanley's got that lead up to almost 2.5 seconds. I got to think he's going to give up a lot of that lead here when he gets to the back of those lappers.
Especially if they're in the middle of a battle, and you know, as this race goes on, the lappers are just get harder and harder to pass because they get faster and faster. You know, you're getting deeper in the field, they get faster and faster. They're racing for position and stuff like that. So now it's not going to get easier for the Stanley as the race goes on here. Approach halfway.
Yeah, and I think these are the last two he's going to see for a while. It's quite the gap to Chad Simpson, Jason Brophy. And the other lappers he'll get to are already one down, so they're not going to probably have a big issue giving up a second one.
Chad kind of closing up on the back of Troiano right here. He'll have a pretty decent slipstream down the front. Not enough to get there, but Troiano kind of slowly slipping back in the clutches for the tail end of the top 5 here.
And you mentioned Ryan Schold doing a great job holding on and running a decent pace. Ethan Stanley has turned it up a little bit, and Schold has fallen off a little bit, and this group of guys, once again, are starting to catch Schold here, just like at the end of that other run. And remember, they started pitting at about lap 20, so this is about how far they went the first run.
Schold is only, a little less than 2 seconds up the road from the battle that we're watching right here, so definitely closing in on them.
And where they pit here, where this next pit cycle happens, that will tell us exactly what we're looking at, if it's a run to the end or if it's a run to one more pit stop. And they are visibly closing in on Scholl right now. You can see him out in front of them. I think that gap's going to be closer yet this time.
About 1.5 seconds at the line right there.
And Mark Murphy has been passed by Ethan Stanley. Ethan didn't give up any time. Kevin Haynes giving it up. So no time lost there for Ethan Stanley. And Adriano is going to have to follow Mark Murphy through this section. It's going to hurt Adriano just a little bit more than Stanley once again, and a little bit there, a little bit here. And it all adds up. And it adds up to about a 3-second gap when they come back to the line is what I'm going to be guessing it's going to be.
Yeah, I think that's one unique thing about this road course, Chris, is especially on the IMSA side where you get the different classes out here, is you got the 2 long straightaways, but then you get these sections of the course where you kind of there's not a lot of room to pass, so you kind of got to just follow the guy through that whole section.
Pit road. Right here, Chad is on pit road.
About the run where we pitted last time, I believe.
That tells me it's going to be another stop. That tells me it is a 3-stop race, not a 2-stop race.
Yeah, we'll see how long these guys go. Yeah, because Chad's even on the hard compound as well, so.
Jesse Vaughn also on pit road, although he is a lap car. Craig Forsythe, he's running 10th. He's on pit road. Let's take a look at our leader, Ethan Stanley. Does he choose to keep going, or does he choose to pit? He's going to keep going. Adriano closes up just a little bit that lap. Here comes Ryan Scholl down pit road. Chad opted for the blacks once again.
Same thing as last time there. Chad, 2 teammates, Chad and Ryan Scholl. Chad came down, and then Ryan Scholl followed a lap later.
Tell you what, when they're on pit road, it just looks like they're going so slow.
Hey, do we know what pit road speed is here, Chris? I know, like, just Indy in general is one of those tracks where I feel like so slow.
I believe we're looking at 40 miles an hour.
Yeah, so pretty slow.
Ryan Scholl opts for the black tire. No new pitters this lap, it does not look like. I'll tell you what, Ethan Stanley, he gave up like 0.3 of a second 2 laps ago. And then last lap, he picked it up and beat Adriano by 0.4. Watching for Ethan to see if he pits this time. Not just yet. He's still there. He's in some traffic right now, too. And this car in front of him is not... it is Jesse Vaughn, and he is not doing Ethan any favors right now.
Yeah, you see just sitting those last couple of corners. Arrow will close in. Vance.
Here comes Eric Troiano, Seb Alexander, Nicholas Sudak coming in. Tyler Fody chooses to keep running. Watching Jason Brophy here to see if he chooses to pit as well or if he's going to keep going. It looks like he's going to run another lap. Here comes Chad Simpson. He is going to run another lap as well. Then you get into Schold, Frankenfield. Still no Ethan Stanley. Are you surprised at all that these two leaders are running?
Got crashed on the front stretch. Who's that? Jesse Vaughn? What happened? Cars.
Man, it's the same thing we keep seeing.
Yeah, you know, same spot. Saw 2 or 3 incidents already just coming out of this last corner.
And he is trying to drive it back, but I would highly suggest maybe just towing that thing because she's done. That's not going to get fixed.
I don't know, that right front looks alright.
I don't think it doesn't look like it wants to turn left at all. That is not something they're going to fix for you in the race. You know what'll fix that car? When they bring the next one off the trailer. And Jason Brophy's on pit road. Still no Ethan Stanley. Still no Adriano. Kind of surprised, too, because if somebody spins out right there and a second car gets involved, the yellow's coming out. If somebody spins out in that last corner and a second car gets involved, the yellow is going to come out. So I am very surprised that they had something happen like that and they have not chose to pit just yet. Because if they get caught out by a yellow, man, it's going to be detrimental to their race.
Yeah, agreed. And you know, all these wrecks, I'm kind of surprised nobody's overcorrected and come back to the right yet, or the left yet, Chris, across the track. They've all kind of kept it to the right against the inside fence for the most part. All been single car incidents.
Yeah, and we're very lucky that they've all been single car incidents. Like, they could have easily been multi-car crashes.
Yeah, you mentioned Indy being narrow, and that's one of the narrowest parts of the track. So,
Panero's still running. Here's Fody. Does Fody choose to pit, or does Fody choose to keep coming? Here comes Tyler Fody down pit road. Butch Davis on pit road as well. I believe that is going to leave us with Stanley Panero and Chad Simpson as the only guys who have yet to come to pit road.
pull up the pit strategy here. It's an idea of how long these guys have been out here. I would expect them here in the next lap or two. I think about 24 laps is all they can do.
Oh, here comes Stanley.
as we talk about it, pull it up. I'd imagine Panero's going to follow him down. Oh, Panero's
No,
going one more.
Panero staying out. Panero said, I'm going to run another lap here. Stanley just now. Stanley just now getting to his pit box.
I believe the gap was about 3 seconds. If Panero decides to pit, we'll see if that gap is able to close it down like he did the first time, or kind of going to gap him a little bit.
Here comes Panero heading towards pit entry.
He is flying in pit road.
Maybe he just thought the one lap in clean air would offset a little bit of pitting a little later. Because that was clear track for him for the first time in a while. We'll see how this nets out.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Ethan's not in a lot of traffic right now, so see how this turns out, like you said. But
Well, the lap that Ethan pitted in was 126.21. Adriano was 126.64. So Ethan did a better job coming to pit road by about half a second.
Ethan crossing the line, and Panero's coming out of the pits right now, so this is gonna be close, Chris.
I
closed
think
a lot.
Panero
He closed a lot.
closed. He made the pass.
Looking like a 6-second jump, Chris. I'm not sure where he made up that time, but couldn't have been just one lap. Arrow again able to jump leader Ethan Stanley pit cycle. This time by a
Take a look at Ethan Stanley's lap 49 down the back chute. Same place he almost lost it before. Oh my goodness gracious. Ethan Stanley basically spun and got it back righted in a hurry. Oh no. That's where the time was made. The same place. The same place he spun before. Or almost spun before when they made right after they made the first mistake after the first stop.
Was that on new tires as well?
Yeah, first lap, his out lap there coming down the backstretch.
That would do it. Yeah, I can't pull it up, but good find, Chris. Good find.
And you gotta wonder if he hurt the tires there as well. They were all four locked up for quite a ways. So Adriano got a gift.
Yeah, that outlap. A 145 outlap for Panero and a 151 for Stanley. So that would be that 6-second gap. That would do it. But I think Ethan Stanley still got the speed, but now he's just kind of got some work to do to get the track position back here, take control of the race.
Yeah, and like I said, you got to wonder if he hurt the tires too. Like if those tires are hurt.
Oh, talking about hurt tires, Panero overcooked that in the one.
Man, oh man, these guys just struggle on new tires, huh?
Well, I think Panero might see that 91 getting a little bigger in his mirror. kind of just missed his marks a little bit there. But yeah, both these guys kind of shows how hard they're pushing. We're over halfway through this race, and these guys have been battling all night long.
Yeah, and I still stand on the hill that the best the battle got all night was at 40 miles an hour down pit road.
Yeah, that was impressive. It was a little game of chicken coming out of the pits, that first pit stop. Who's going to lift, because it's only a one-lane exit.
And now here we sit, right on top of each other. Ethan Stanley got the breathing room just over pushed there. And now, look at him trying to break the wind down the front stretch, break the draft. Stanley follows, says you're not going to lose me.
Right on board for a little bit here with Ethan Stanley. See how much he's working behind our leader. Well, I was going to say we're going to do the sponsor reads after pit stops, Chris, but hate to break away from this action to do it, but things are getting good here. Battle for the lead. I thought it was going to get a little spread out after pit stops here, but we got a little more interesting.
Yeah, these two leaders running right on top of each other. And you still got Scholl there in third. You got Troiano closing up on Scholl. That battle's coming together very nicely. You got Seb back there, stuck behind a couple lappers right now. Oh, and Seb runs out in the grass a little bit. Did not lose any momentum down the front stretch.
Sandwich in between two lap cars. Got Mark Murphy in front of him. Butch Davis in the 43 behind him. Mark having a little bit of a blinking issue. A little bit. Solid now. And that was close. Seb kind of just sent it in there on Mark Murphy. Almost a little bit of contact.
Yeah, I think that's just a lead lap car being frustrated with a lap car. I think that's all that was.
And it caused Mark Murphy to lose the spot to Butch Davis too, so I'm sure Mark's not too happy about that. Kind of a late move there coming off the backstretch. Stanley getting a good run here. We'll see if he's able to get enough of a slipstream down the backstretch. Maybe make a move. Don't think so. Not quite.
Yeah, not quite, but they're right on top of each other.
See if Stanley is able to keep it close on down the front stretch. I think that's what he wants to do. That's the plan. But these Indy cars, Chris, I mean, they're just so aero sensitive. You know, you can kind of get to the guy, but you gotta get to him at the right time because you lose all that front downforce when you get up close and get in that dirty air from the car in front of you.
Yeah, and you see right here, as they head down the front stretch, he's not quite close enough, I don't believe.
Mark Murphy taking access road there a little bit. Out of turn 1.
Yeah, Mark having a rough go of it here the last little bit. Still waiting here. I don't think Ethan Stanley's. I don't think he's close enough in the right spots right now.
Not quite. He kind of gains it down the backstretch, but then kind of loses it coming onto the front stretch, and he's not close enough to get that overtake arrow.
Yeah, and these guys ran so long, they're probably going to get short fills on the last stop. But that pit window is about to open up here in the next 7 to 10 laps or so. And we've seen Chad pit at the front side of that window every time. So I look for at or by 65. We're going to be talking about the last round of pit stops.
See what the strategy is. Ethan's close right here. If he's able to maintain a shot, but you see just a little bit of time right there out of the corner. But yeah, these leaders haven't fallen off a whole lot. I mean, they just pitted 10 laps ago, so see what strategy they decide to go with here. I'd imagine they're going to go for the softer compound and run it out to the end.
Oh yeah, neither one of these two have had the soft compound yet tonight. So they're probably going to run to, if I had to guess, we're going to talk about people pitting around 63 to 65. These two probably run towards 70, and it's going to be a fuel stop. Here we go.
Yeah, Ethan has a look. Like Panero's just kind of let him go. Oh, he overcooked it a little bit. Able to hang on to it. I think Panero kind of saw it. Kind of just ease into that corner and let Ethan kind of take that lead.
Ethan back out front.
Stanley back to the lead. Panero might have a shot at him right here, though. Not quite. Maybe we can take another look at that. Hey, turn 1. Yeah. A good run down the front stretch and about loses it down here going into 1. Like I thought he was going to go off track for a second because he really cooked it down in there. At least compared to Panero.
I think right here he's on the push to pass as well. Just a great job of using all the racetrack right there.
Yeah, I don't think he could have used much more. There wasn't much more left out there for him.
Well, I think with that lead change, it might be safe to take one of our 2 commercial breaks that we got to get in tonight, Nick.
Yeah, we'll step away for a second. We'll come back and shout out to some of our race sponsors here.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Everybody, we're back here. Jack's Donuts Grand Prix of Indianapolis. Stanley slowly pulling away by Panera, gap up, almost up to a second now. Really the battle for the most part. There's a couple battles up back here for sixth, looks like. Chad Frankenfield. Seb Alexander out in front of him. Seb making some pretty good progress tonight. Up 6 positions where he started back in 11th. So really good run here for Seb.
Yeah, he's had a pretty strong run tonight. You know, it's all been the Ethan Stanley Adriano show, and pit stops have been where things have gotten exciting. And I think we are quickly approaching that last pit window. Scholl there still in 3rd, Troiano 4th. You mentioned Seb up to 5th, just past Chad. Chad trying to hunt him back down, though.
And another battle back here for 9th and 10th. You got Jason Brophy, Craig Forsythe trying to run him down. Gap about 0.4 of a second. Oh, looks like Seb able to make the pass there on Chad.
Yeah, and Tyler Frody's another guy that's really fallen off here after the first fuel run.
Yeah, we saw him up there in 3rd and 4th for a little bit to start the race, and he's slowly drifted back here to 8th. About 28 seconds off the lead, but he's still with a good group of cars, though. He's with Dudek there in the 22. But really just him. Brophy's about 30 seconds behind him. 25 seconds behind him. But since we got a second, Chris, what is your favorite kind of donut?
My favorite kind of donut?
Yeah. I'm not talking about donuts like after a race win. Like, I'm talking about the food kind of donut.
My favorite, you know, I love the cream-filled donuts, man.
Do you?
Yeah.
Not a big feeling guy. I go with the classic chocolate frosted or something like that. But race sponsor tonight, Jack's Donuts. Check them out. JacksDonuts.com to find your closest location. Thanks for them for jumping on board tonight. Sponsor the Grand Prix of Indianapolis. Big coffee and donuts guy. Love coffee. I hear good things about it. Or about them. Or about their locations. Don't know if there's any around me though. I gotta check it out.
I'm not a big I don't drink coffee.
No coffee?
No coffee.
Tea?
But I do donuts, dude.
Hot chocolate?
Nah, I don't like warm drinks in general.
At all? Really?
Yeah, I like drink. I'm a cold drink kind of guy.
I'm surprised. Well, check out Jack's Donuts. I'm sure they got some cold drinks for you too.
I'm sure they do, and if they've stepped up to sponsor Indianapolis, there's probably a location close to me here in Ohio.
What about iced coffee?
No.
No iced coffee either?
No coffee in general, dude. None whatsoever.
It looks like we got pit stops starting here. Chad Frankenfield leading it off again. I think Craig Forsythe pitted as well.
Yeah, we knew this was coming. You know, a lot of these guys pitting right here. The window is just opened here to make it to the end. And I think Ethan and Adriano, they're going to run probably, like I said earlier, about to lap 70. And going to put in 15 hard tires on those red sidewalls. And going to have a short fill on the stop. They're not going to be waiting on fuel. You're not going to need all that fuel here.
Ryan Scholl coming down.
And Ethan in a lot of Ethan's in the traffic with Chad Frankenfield. That's not going to be. Chad is not going to let him go. Chad just came off of pit road. He's on cold tires. He's going to be attacking right here. Ethan going to be frustrated.
Now Panero sees this out in front of him, and he's going to try to get all he can right now.
They work their way through the last corner. I don't think Ethan... Oh, Chad nearly loses it right in front of the leader.
Oh, man, that could have been huge. That was close.
Well, you know, Chad blending right there where he blended. He's got to push hard, and we've seen it on cold tires all night. That's when these guys are the most vulnerable, is right there on cold tires.
And I'm sure Ethan was thinking deja vu. We saw a similar situation a couple weeks ago at Long Beach. Ethan had the lead of a race. Pretty much gapped it probably a couple seconds. He was way out there, and the mistake by a lap car took him out of contention. So similar thing about just happened tonight.
Yeah, and I'm sure Ethan would have been very upset. As they run through this section here, back and forth.
As we wait for a couple other guys to come down pit road, just want to give a shout out to our other sponsors. Been on board with us for multiple seasons now. Worldwide Technology Raceway, either picture down there in the bottom left. If you don't know what it is, it's a motorsport racing facility in Madison, Illinois. Features a 1.25-mile oval that hosts the Cup Series, the Truck Series, and the Indycar Series, as well as an infield road course for Trans Am, SCCA, on the Porsche Club of America. So a lot of racing going on down there at Worldwide. Thank you. I want to thank them for their support.
And a lot of it coming up too. I think the Cup Series is getting ready to be there for a weekend here. Is it in May or June?
Yeah, I think it's coming up soon.
So time's running out. Head on over to their website and get some tickets.
Yeah, it's nice to have them in the Cup Series. It's been the Busch Series and the Truck Series there for the longest time. So it's nice the Cup Series came on. Go finally get some dates there. And then our other partner, Blue Egg Marketing, been on board a couple seasons. Marketing department for all your small business needs, so check them out.
And of course, they're
on
the fastest car here tonight. Blue Egg Marketing is all over that 91 machine.
They are, so might be a good night for them, getting their car in victory lane here with not coming down to 18 to go.
But one pit stop, and we've seen that's where the 91 has been vulnerable.
And of course, our series sponsor, how can we forget, Warriors for Peace Foundation's promoting peaceful change in the world to honor the life of Jack Shockley. Check it out, warriorsforpeace.org. Thank you for all their support, continued support. We get back to the action here. You see Stanley coming up on a lot of lap traffic.
Yeah, and Chad Simpson's still out there. I don't believe he's pitted yet. But Nicholas just came off of pit road this lap, and so a whole lot of traffic for the leaders. I almost wonder if it wouldn't be beneficial to go ahead and pit and get away from some of this. At this point, this is probably the most crowded it is on the racetrack, right where these leaders are.
Might be right. It might be a good option for Stanley here, because I agree with you. You get these cars that are maybe a little bit slower on pace, but they're on new tires, so they're able to go a little quicker than you and kind of hold you up a little bit. So, right, it might be a little beneficial to kind of short pit this thing and go a little off strategy and save yourself the time working through traffic.
But the theory might also be, hey, you know what? Adriano's not pitting either, and that's the guy I'm racing. I'm not worried about anybody else.
That's true, but I mean, you also kind of wonder if it's kind of going through Stanley's mind. He's come out on cold tires twice now and lost the lead because of incidents where he's almost lost the car. So might be worried about that coming down the last stop. So maybe pitting early wouldn't be a bad thing, because if that does happen, you got the time to make it up. You pit late and lose all that time like you did the first two stops. You're not gonna have time to run them back down.
I'm gonna make a prediction. I'm gonna predict that Ethan is gonna execute this pit road, and if somebody's gonna make a mistake, it's gonna be Adriano. But if I had to bet, I'd bet neither one of them. They've made mistakes all night long here, both of them on the other side of cold tires, on the other side of a pit stop. I bet both of them now have it figured out. Not going to see either of them make a mistake on this last pit stop.
You're thinking
Gonna be all about
third time's
executing.
the charm for Stanley?
For both of them. Yeah, we saw, Adriano had that gap on Stanley, and he made a mistake too on his Colt tires. So I think both of them are going to execute it this time. Oh, and we got somebody surround down there. Was it Corey Johnson? Did he finally get his car fixed? And yeah, he's back up there running. It's been a very trying night tonight for that Corey Johnson machine.
Be the battle for fourth here. Ryan Schold out in front of Eric Troiano. Troiano giving him a lot of pressure right now.
And Schold just came off pit road too.
Troiano's on that softer compound, so theoretically he should have more grip at the moment. Like he might be able to get that slipstream here. Try to make the move. I don't know if he's got the momentum. Gold not going to give it up easily. They're going to race side by side. Brown does get by. But man, that going too wide down there in turn one. Neither of them wanting to give up the spot.
Yeah, and at this point of the race, I think Troiano has pitted as well. Both those guys have already made their last stop. And Schold went for the blacks again. So he's got his one stint on the reds, and he's been on the blacks ever since. I think Eric had to go to the reds this time.
Yeah, I think Schold may have one extra lap on his tires. He did one lap earlier than Troiano.
Now we know Ethan Stanley and Adriano have to go for the reds this last stop. Neither car has had reds on all race long.
And I think we talked earlier, we were watching Chad and those guys that started on them, and it was about 15 laps is when they seemed to start to fall off. So you're kind of at that threshold now. So getting a little sideways in that last corner. But yeah, I think now you're at that point where you can kind of take them without any issues.
Yeah, and right now Adriano is really struggling with traffic. Lost almost a second that time, being trapped behind Chad Finkerfield. And Chad's knowing that these guys are going to pit, and so he's not wanting to give it up to him. And there's, Tyler Fody right behind him, who's made his last pit stop.
And Fody
He's
made up
also
a lot
on the
of
reds.
Yeah, and Fody made up a lot of time on Chad. I think there was a pretty sizable.
Oh, a big late maneuver there out of Fody. They're going to go through this section side by side. Oh,
wow.
My goodness.
Oh, my goodness. I don't know how they didn't wreck right there. There is not enough room to go too wide through that little chicane. I'm sure Fody's not too happy about that.
Fody's on attack right here on his reds, huh?
Yeah, I'm sure Fody's not too happy about that. He was way behind Chad 4 pit stops and was able to run him down, and Chad not making it easy on him. We see these two guys go at it time after time. The Cup Series, the trucks, Xfinity Series on the NASCAR side, and not cutting any slack over here on the IndyCar side either. You know each other pretty well.
You're gonna sing that song time after time? You about to do some
Time
karaoke?
after time.
Here they come down the front stretch. There's a piece of wing leg in there. Something happened there off
Corey
that corner.
Johnson. We'll take a look at that replay in a second here. Cody's able to make the move down here in turn one. Clear Chad. We'll take a look at what happened to Corey Johnson. I believe that wing may have been from the car.
Oh, Stanley's on pit road. Adriano's still running.
If I were to guess, Chris, we're going to see the same incident here that we've seen a couple times tonight. If I were a betting man.
Oh, man, Corey. It's been a rough night for Corey. Once again, real lucky. Look at this car right in the middle of the track. Real lucky that nobody hit him.
Yeah. Kind of all these wrecks have been out of the racing line. Like I didn't think Indy was a self-cleaning racetrack, Chris, but apparently it is down there tonight.
I guess it's banked just enough. All right, here comes Ethan Stanley through the section he struggled with on cold tires. Gets through there perfectly. Adriano on pit road yet? Let's take a look. Not yet.
He's
He's
staying
still out here
out.
running in all this traffic. Look at the clear track Ethan Stanley's got. See, this is what I didn't understand about when they chose to stay in this traffic for the last 5-6 laps. Stanley's out here going to have clear track.
Yeah, but Panero's he's running really good lap times right now. Yeah, he was only half a second off his best time of the night. So a lot of speed still on those tires. Curious to see what Ethan's going to be able to run here on softer compound, first time tonight. So he's able to better his fastest lap, or times will be kind of comparable.
I think if I'm Panero, I don't know if I want to wait much longer. You're running in a ton of traffic. Here he comes.
See how this sorts out here.
Man, he's getting around there. Absolutely getting around there, man. Ethan Stanley has executed pit road this time. I feel like his tires are warmed up enough for him to really be on attack. Where's Panero? Is he leaving? That's the watch here. See what's going on as they come down the front stretch.
He just entered his box, so I think this gap's gonna be pretty large and size favorable to Ethan Stanley.
1:11.6. What a lap!
And that's a second better than his best lap. That's a second better than his best lap of the night. So Ethan Stanley getting all he can.
You were just bragging about that 13 something that Panero ran, and Ethan Stanley said, hold my beer, boys, watch this. But Panero's got that ability now, too. He's going to have the reds, but it's going to take him a couple laps to get heat in them. And not to mention the clear track that Stanley ran in there for a couple laps that, you know, Panero let him run those couple laps in clean track. That was not ideal, I don't think. That's not the situation you wanted.
So Ethan with a pretty healthy gap now. Battle on track currently. Fourth. Back here for 10th. Greg Forsythe for 9th.
Well, the gap is now 5 seconds. 20 seconds to Troiano, 22 to Ryan Schold, Seb Alexander, way back there, Nicholas Sudak, Tyler Fody. Something had to have happened to Chad Frankenfield on the other side of his pit stop that we just didn't catch.
Yeah, because he was running about killing the top 5 or so, 5th or 6th, I believe, and he pitted the earliest, so he should have been able to make up some time, but looks like he lost some time instead. So.
Oh, you know what happened? Well, yeah, I'm a big dummy and I forgot.
We got another crash. 0-0 Kevin Hayes. Take a look.
Chad blended out with the leaders and was in all that traffic and having to do some racing. That's what happened to Chad.
Oh man, is that right behind Tyler Fody in front? Kind of lost that on his own down there.
It looks like he ran through some water or something. You think there was fluid down there? Somebody leaking some oil?
Maybe. I don't. We haven't seen anybody wreck down there. I think all the oil is down the other end, out of the last corner.
Adriano just busted a 1:11.8. Might be too little, too late though. He's really gonna have to. He's really gonna have to find some speed and hope Ethan has a moment or something. I think if he's gonna close down a 4.5 second gap.
lap times between the two. Now, he's gonna need a little more time than that. Only about 3/10 on leader Ethan Stanley. That lead, you know, we talked about being 5. It's under 4 now, 3.5. See what this lap time looks like in our top 2.
I think mid 112s.
About a second. He might be able to get there, Chris. If he can keep up that pace, I don't think any lap cars were affected either on that lap. So we'll see if Canaro's got a little bit better pace here on the soft compound.
Here's the thing, though. How long can he push like that on those tires? And as he gets closer to Ethan, he's going to start feeling the effects of dirty air. But there are a couple lap cars. Look right out in front of Ethan. And they are on the lead lap. It's Craig Forsyth, Jason Brophy, racing for 9th place. Just in front of our leader.
We'll see if what kind of terms they are with leader Ethan Stanley here. Whether they're nice or whether want to race him a little bit, try to stay in the lead lap.
Yeah, and they have a right to race for 9th. They do not have to let the leader go. Ethan Stanley's going to want him to go. And want them to let him go, but they don't have to, you know. They're racing for a spot inside the top 10. It's just Ethan and Adriano are so freaking fast tonight that you know, they're looking at lapping up to 9th place. Incredible.
Like that gap kind of stayed the same. It was about 3.5 last time. It was about 3.5 this time. So maybe Ethan kind of just taking it a little easier, kind of maintaining that gap. Doesn't need no reason to push. You look at, we're watching the battle for 9th here between Jason Brophy, Craig Forsyth right in front of our leaders. So Ethan Stanley, they're coming into the picture.
And Adriano is saying, hold him up, but I believe there's been some communication. I think on the front stretch, you're going to see both these lappers. I think 9th and 10th both, I think, have an agreement and a gentleman's rule here. They're not going to race each other down the front stretch. They're going to let Ethan go.
Do just that.
And if you're Adriano, that is not fun. Oh, they're going to let them both go. Look at that. They're putting their race on hold and letting them both go. That is incredible stuff. Very, very great sportsmanship there. You know, that's incredible. Kudos to them for doing that.
Yeah, props to them for sure. If it were me and you, I would have raced you.
If we were the lappers or the lead lap car?
The lappers.
Well, yeah, if we're the lappers, we'll race.
Even if you were the leader and I was going a lap down, I would have raced you.
Hey, I'm all for racing whenever. But I don't think there's a situation where I'm the lead lap car and you're the lapper. I don't foresee those circumstances playing out.
Watch these two kind of go right back at it. Heck nose to tail the way they were.
Yeah, and Adriano is probably a little frustrated that they let him go that easily, but at least they let them both go.
Didn't play a role in the fight at all. Now it's about a half a lap full of clean track for Ethan Stanley, so I don't think lap traffic will be a factor for the rest of the race.
And there's a battle shaping up for 3rd, but Eric made that pass, but he is on the reds, so those reds might start giving up. Scholl might be able to get back to him. Seb Alexander, good gap there to Nicholas Sudak. Tyler Fody, Chad Frankenfield. Might be the same situation that's playing out at 3rd. The car on the reds kind of ran away, and now the car on the blacks closing back up.
Do a quick run through the field right now as we wind down this race. I don't think we've done one tonight, so we're here. Got leader Ethan Stanley, Arrow, 2nd. We talk about that most of the night. Back in 3rd here, about 23 seconds back. Arrow is Troiano. Chris mentioned Ryan Schultz kind of working his way, running him down here, running in the 4th spot. Seb Alexander running in 5th. 2 of Nick 6th. Tyler Fode kind of clawing his way back up. We saw him top 5 all the way back to 9th and kind of clawing his way back up to 7th here. Right behind him is Chad Drinkerfield, Mean Machine. Jason Brophy, points leader, back here in 9th.
Chad nearly hit the wall right there in 8th. I don't know. He might have touched it going down into that brake zone, trying to close up on Fode. We're seeing, like I mentioned, these guys on blacks are closing back up on these guys on reds, and we're gonna see Troiano.
Oh, we got a wreck down here. Jason Brophy, as we were just talking about, and Craig Forsyth both get going, but look at what happened there. We just had them on camera and turned away for a second, and we come back and they're both spun out into the backstretch.
Looks like a dive. He hit the curb there as well and got into him.
Craig here, right behind Jason. That slipstream down the backstretch and tried to make a move. Peek out, try to make that move. Yeah, looks like he got a little bit of that curb. Maybe Jason. Looks like he just kind of late move and got a little bit of that curb.
Yeah, and that's the first time tonight we've seen a 2-car accident. And a little bit earlier, that would have been a caution. But here at 3 to go, that a caution ends the race. We're not going to have green-white checkered, so nobody else was coming. We're going to hold the flag on anything right here unless it's absolutely blocking the track, because a yellow flag at this point will end the race.
I think that's a good call. I mean, there were no cars even close to them. They were kind of in a zip code of their own there. Both able to surprisingly keep it going. As far as fragile as they are, I'm surprised that wings didn't fall off. They're all straight. Or they seem to be. I'm not driving it, but they seem to be straight.
And the leader's going to cross the line, take 2 to go, Ethan Stanley.
And that lead down under 3 seconds now. So Panero still kind of reeling them in slowly. He's going to need something to happen here in order to make up that much time.
Yeah, if he's going to make up that kind of time, it's Ethan's going to have some kind of issue. Hey, we got this battle for 3rd really shaping up, along with the battle for 7th. I don't know if you got some picture-in-picture over there, but both these battles are, we've got the guy on reds really struggling in each battle, and the guy on blacks on full attack.
Yeah, I wish I could split the frame. We don't have that kind of technology yet. But yeah, you're right. At the battle for 7th here, Tyler Fode trying to hold off Chad Frankenfield, and then we'll go up here to battle for 3rd. Troiano trying to hold off Ryan Schultz, Chad's teammate there. Something happened to Panero because that gap is now 5.5, so he must have had a slip somewhere.
Yeah, that time right there really fell off. Or he could have just backed off and said, it's not worth it, as they take the white flag.
While we're focusing on the battle for 7th here, Tyler Fode. Troiano, something happened to Schultz. Troiano was able to gap Schultz a little bit there. About a second and a half.
So hard to push and not make a mistake in dirty air. As Ethan Stanley works his way towards the end of the backstretch. Couple clean corners, and Ethan Stanley's going to be looking at the checker flag here. Start off this time at Indy really strong as he looks to win the Indy 500 here in a couple weeks' time. And looks to win back-to-back. Yesterday in a stock car at Road America. Today he makes that trip to Indianapolis in an open-wheel car. Again at a road course.
Get through the last 2 corners here. And Stanley, way off the last corner, is going to win Jack's Donuts Grand Prix of Indianapolis here. A little bit of redemption for last couple weeks ago, Long Beach. And we're able to bring it home P2. Cycle back to the battle for 7th here. Chad trying to get by Tyler Fode.
Here comes Troiano for 3rd. Looks like he's going to hold on to 3rd. Going to keep Schultz at bay, 3rd and 4th coming across the line. Seb Alexander's going to round out the top 5. Nicholas Sudak right behind him.
But he's going to hold off Chad. 7th. I'd bring it home 8th. Everybody doing burnouts down here in turn 1. Eve. Mark Murphy gonna bring it home P16. Winner tonight, 91 Ethan Stanley. Good points line for him. See if we can get him here short. Quick break and we'll be right back.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back here as we round up post-race interviews here. Prix of Indianapolis. Welcome winner to Ethan Stanley into the booth. Ethan, congrats on the win. Congrats on the win. A little bit of redemption for a couple weeks ago at Long Beach, it seems like. Saw you get the W last night in the Cup Series at Road America. Come back tonight and do it again here at the Indycar Series. Seemed like a long battle, but pretty much between you and Pinero the whole night. We saw you guys kind of go back and forth a couple times. What were you thinking there when you kind of... it seemed like you lost the lead on both pit stops there, coming out of the pits. What were you thinking there?
Well, the first time was just he beat me off pit road, and then second time I ended up doing like a little half spin on my outlap, so that kind of put me back. I was able to get back up to him, and yeah, it was a dogfight the whole race. It was great. I had a lot of fun battling him.
You mentioned how much fun you had battling him, but it looked like you had the pace, especially over the long run. But when you got that big 3 second lead, and then you came off of pit road and had that half spin on the backstretch, you think you gave it away? But we saw him, make the same mistakes after they're out there on cold tires as well.
Yeah, I thought I might give it away. I started really burning fuel trying to catch him, and I did gain a couple seconds on him. And then he had a lock up in the turn one, and I was right on him again. It was just, yeah, I think it was pretty even between us in mistakes. It was just a good race.
Yeah, and much needed points day for you. We saw you kind of walk away with it a little bit at Long Beach until the incident with the lap car. I almost had the same thing happen tonight. We kind of caught it live. But looking forward to the month of May here. You're going to spend a lot of time here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. How are you feeling next week about Indy 500 qualifying, and then 2 weeks out is the 500?
Well, historically, I haven't done too well at the 500, but I mean, this season I've kind of figured out the car, so I hope to get in the somewhere in the top 10 for a starting position, and hope to get some good points at the Indy 500. Maybe go for a win. I don't know. It just depends.
Well, Ethan, before we let you jump out of here and celebrate your win here on back-to-back nights, of course, winning last night in Road America, winning tonight here in Indianapolis, and, I think it's a couple days off, right, until next Monday. So what sponsors help get it done for you, and who helps get you to the racetrack week in, week out?
Yeah, big shout out to Blue Egg Marketing and JD Designs for being on the car. Big shout out to Tyler Fody for being with me in the IndyCar series. He's still learning a little bit, but he's definitely learning. He's getting some pace. Just big shout out to you guys for doing the broadcast, and big shout out to everybody that makes the league run.
Well, alrighty, Ethan, we'll let you get out of here. Congrats on the win. We'll see you in a couple weeks for the 500.
Yeah, thank you.
Alrighty, Chris, we'll wrap things up tonight. Overall, it was a fun race to broadcast. It kind of had that dogfight there between Stanley and Panero, and a lot of strategy going on, a lot of battles throughout the field, and a lot of cars running at the end of it. We kind of saw a lot of mistakes out of the last corner, but overall, it was a great race to call.
Yeah, we saw a lot of different strategies take place, a lot of different deals. Cold tires seemed to be an issue for a lot of guys. It was a lot of fun to watch those tire battles, that we saw in the first and last stint, where it was, blacks versus reds, and at the end of each stint, we saw the guy on reds fall off, and both guys on reds were able to hold on to those spots at the end. So lots of different things there. We got to see a great battle for the lead all race long. Like I said, that deal at 40 miles an hour, that pit cycle when they both were right on each other's tail, and we saw the lead swap and they came off side by side. That was absolutely incredible stuff. So I was pretty excited to watch tonight. I was excited to get to broadcast with you, and I can't wait to see where we're going here in the month of May and the Indy 500 and see what's next here on the docket for us.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's going to be a busy month here in the Warriors for Peace IndyCar series, and forward to spending a lot of time here in Indianapolis. But thanks again to all our partners, Jack's Donuts, for coming on board for tonight. Check them out at jacksdonuts.com. Been around since 1961, so well-earned reputation. And Worldwide Technology Raceway, of course, and Blake Marketing. You guys, I believe the next thing on the schedule for the IndyCar series is Indy 500 qualifying on next Thursday. You guys all back tuning in then.